Hello everyone, this is RK Singh again to share some views on lifelong learning and andragogy, one of the aspects of human resource development. Today I start with a hypothetical case of Monica, a 45 years old marketing manager at Bangalore IT services company, walks into work on Monday morning. Her company had just implemented AI tools for customer analysis. Her 20 years of experience from early days of India's IT boom to managing global client relationship suddenly feel inadequate. What happens next? Today we will explore how two powerful frameworks, lifelong learning and andragogy, help us understand and respond to movements like Monica's. We will examine the conceptual foundations and navigate the practical tensions, and we'll see that how this idea helps us blending theory with the practice. The implementation of these concepts in HRD that I will take up in my next lecture. So let's start with Monica's dilemma. And there are two lenses to see Monica's dilemma. The first is the policy lens. In policy lens, lifelong learning is defined as all learning activity undertaken throughout life with the aim of improving knowledge, skills, and attitude. From this viewpoint, Monica needs upskilling. She should enroll in some AI training, update her competencies, meet organizational goals. This is the instrumental approach, learning as a tool for employment and productivity. But there is another perspective entirely different. What Peter Jarvis offers as the existential view. Here, learning is not separate from living. It is living. So Monica's confusion when facing those AI tools, the answer from this perspective is that what Jarvis calls disjuncture. Think of disjuncture as a gap between what you know and what you need to know. Your mental autopilot stops working. You can't rely on past experience. You must actively engage with the new situation. And here is the key insight. This is when the real learning happens. Monica is not just acquiring new skills. She is transforming her entire understanding of her role, her industry, her capabilities. Her mind, body, emotions, and values are engaged in this process. In our rapidly changing world, disjuncture happens constantly because of new technologies, changing markets, evolving social expectations. Thus, learning becomes continuous, truly lifelong. And here is what some Indian professionals shared once with me, that 60% of the professionals, they learn most on the job, not in the classrooms. The workplace itself has become the primary environment for learning. Not just formal training rooms for or lecture halls. But if lifelong learning is about living, not just training, how do we actually enable it for persons like Monica and her peers, especially in the way in the way which is very different, and the different way is actually different world of adult professionals. That is where andragogy comes, and this andragogy helps us bridging the gap between theory and the practice. It is this where theory meets practice. Understanding the adults like Monica, that they are in constant disjuncture, sponsored by one thing or the other. But questions comes that how do we actually help them learn effectively? And the role of andragogy is very crucial. The idea which was developed by Malcolm Knowles, the andragogy is the art and science of helping adults learn. It is built on fundamental insight that adults learn differently from children. Let's look at that how this adult learning or this andragogical perspective could be applied in the present case of Monica. How we can buy insights, what Malcolm Knoll says that it is not PIDA, it is Andra. And for that he offers the 5 principles in action in andragogy. And understanding those principles, that becomes very helpful to understand the entire gamut of HRD. The first is that adults are self-directed learners. So Monica does not want to be told exactly what to do. She knows. Having navigated India's IT transformation from the 1990s to today, I think Monica values autonomy. She wants to understand the problem and explore solutions. In practice, this means involving her in diagnosing her learning needs. And to ask her, Monica, what aspect of AI integration worry you most? The second principle is that adults bring rich experience. They are not coming tabula rasa. So Monica has 20 years of marketing experience and insights. From managing campaigns for Indian SMEs to handling Fortune 500 clients. From understanding regional market preferences in Tamil Nadu to Delhi's corporate culture. That's not baggage. That's a treasure. That's a real heritage. What Monica is carrying. So effective learning connects new AI tools to her existing knowledge of diverse customer behavior, culture, nuances, and relationship building strategies. Then the third principle, that adults are motivated by relevance and internal needs. And the third principle is that adults are motivated by relevance and internal needs. Monica won't engage with abstract AI theory. but show her how AI can help predict which tier 2 city clients are likely to expand their digital presence, or how it can optimize campaigns for both English and regional language audiences. Now you have her attention. And the fourth principle of andragogy is that adults prefer problem solving learning, problem centered learning. That is, instead of starting with the how does machine learning work, let's start with how can we identify which of our Mumbai clients will need e-commerce solutions in the next quarter. And the fifth principle is that adults are intrinsically motivated. That is, Monica's deepest motivation is not external rewards. It is the satisfaction of mastery, the joy of solving complex client challenges, the confidence that comes from staying relevant in India's rapidly evolving digital economy. And after 5 principles of andragogy, let me share with you the real world application of andragogy, few hypothetical cases. Let me show you how this works in practice actually. The traditional training approach, where we say that mandatory AI workshop or generic curriculum or passive instruction or quiz at the end, what would be the result of this? Monica will comply, but will not get truly engaged with this method. An andragogical lifelong learning approach, where we start with Monica's disjuncture, where we look at that I feel overwhelmed by these new AI tools. There is a need to use her experience to appreciate that you have always been excellent at understanding diverse customer patterns, from Bangaluru's tech startups to Chennai's manufacturing clients. AI just gives you more data to work with those same insights. This would be more engaging and meaningful for persons like Monica. There is a need to create problem-centered learning, hands-on project using real data from Indian market segments. Support self-direction. Monica chooses which AI feature to explore first based on her client portfolio, instead of we giving her some curriculum, some course design. And then the difference would be the Monica does not just learn about AI. She integrates it into her professional identity as someone who understands both technology and the Indian market landscape. And there she becomes someone who uses AI confidently while respecting cultural context. This how we can think in terms of applying andragogical principles or adopting andragogy in our practices to make it your own. But in this process, couple of critical tensions need to be navigated. And those tensions, you may call it as honest admission of the challenges of application of andragogy and understanding lifelong learning in practical domain. The first tension is that autonomy versus control. Andragogy assumes learners are self-directed, but organizations have performance requirements. Monica may want to explore creative applications of AI in understanding regional Indian markets. But her manager needs her to meet quarterly revenue targets from existing clients. Look at the conflict, look at the paradox. And then the question comes that how do we balance these? An answer is that by creating what I call a structured autonomy. Clear objectives with flexible pathways. Monica knows the destination but chooses the route. And what I call that don't control is structure and process both. If you choose a structure, let the process be chosen by the incumbent, and if you choose the process, let the structure be free. The second tension is about individual growth versus organizational needs. There is a research by Hevison which says that half of the learners, they feel that continuing education is a real platform providing a lot of opportunities. But nearly next half finds it more stressful. And there is another segment of the employees, professionals, they say that it is seriously detrimental, hampering the personal and the family relationship. So therefore, we have to understand that how to strike a balance. Because theoretically, through research, what couple of snapshots we are able to capture in every situation, they may not be unfolding the way academic and the world of research goes for looking at it. And this is the wake-up call for HR professionals, that we must design learning that serves both organizational needs and human well-being. And the tension 3 is the global and the local knowledge. The dominant model of lifelong learning is derived from Western world. It emphasizes on formal education, scientific knowledge, and individual responsibility. But consider Priya, a manufacturing supervisor in Coimbatore, having deep knowledge of local supplier relationship built over generations. She understands the cultural nuances of managing teams with workers from Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka. She knows traditional problem-solving approaches that have sustained Indian manufacturing for decades. By Western lifelong learning standards, she might need management training and digital literacy. But what if we flip the question? What can Priya's knowledge teach us about effective leadership in diverse relationship-based culture. Similarly, consider Rajesh, a bank manager in rural Rajasthan, working in a small time rural area. He understands financial needs of agricultural communities. He knows how seasonal cycles affect lending patterns. He speaks three local languages and understands kinship networks that affect credit decisions. This is not informal knowledge. It is highly sophisticated expertise essential for serving India's rural economy. It would not be out of place to mention UNESCO, which warns us that the simple substitution of scientific knowledge for local knowledge will have disastrous consequences for humanity. The andragogical response is that honor all forms of experience. Priya's relationship management expertise, which becomes the foundation for integrating new manufacturing technologies with what she has. Rajesh's community knowledge guides the implementation of digital banking solutions. And this is how we can go for creating a win-win situation for both what we have and where we want to go. This is all in this part of my lecture. The other parts, that how to implement it in HRD framework, how to use andragogy and lifelong learning principles in HRD. For that, soon I'll be back to you. Till then, bye bye. Thank you so much.